Alright, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Spanko. This is going to be as raw can be. I'm currently on vacation. I am not in, obviously, my studio. I'm not at home. We're out in Mexico, baby. But the ban list, of course, just dropped. I'm going to be reacting to it live. First things first, I see a couple I'm going to show you guys right here. I see a couple things here, which is kind of crazy, to be honest with you. And it looks like a big list, which is kind of crazy, to be honest with you. So we're going to go through it one by one. I know you guys can't see it, but I just want to show you guys my reaction to it. So first things first is the forbidden section. I'm looking at it over here. And yeah, stuff that I assumed was going to be banned. All right, so I'm just going to do it like this so you guys can see it here as well. Lacrima is very interesting. It's a brand new card, but it makes sense because it makes the Fiendsmith engine so powerful. And I think it's just a common, so they don't really mind hitting it. Appaloosa is something that we all expected, if I'm being honest with you, just because we know with Appaloosa, or we know with Baron and Savage, they kind of hit those kind of cards. They don't want those very generic cards. So Appaloosa was something that kind of hurts, but, you know, I'm going to be honest, it's very fair. Calamity and Beatrice. I think all four of these forbidden cards, Lacrima is kind of interesting because it's a newer card, but all four of these forbidden cards are make a lot of sense. I think it's something that we expected to happen. Appaloosa, Calamity, of course, Beatrice as well. I know a lot of people talked about Beatrice. Beatrice is really good to hit because it stops a lot of different combos, not just the Fiendsmith stuff. But Lacrima is a very interesting one as well, right? So forbidden, I have no qualms with it. Let's get into the limited section, and it's a few cards. It's a few cards over here. I don't know if it's backwards, or I don't know how it's going to look on camera, but it's a few cards over here. And the first thing that stands out to me is, yes, Eva is back at 1, which is kind of interesting. Snake Eyes Ash and Snake Eyes Poplar is going to definitely hurt the consistency of the deck. A couple gimmick puppet cards, I guess, here to stop the OTK. But there's two. Okay, wait, I take it back. There's two that stick out. Branded Fusion at 1 is crazy. I did not think Branded Fusion was going to get hit. Opening of the Spirit Gates hits Yubel a little bit. Prosperity going to 1 is kind of interesting, honestly. I think it's still that card that people are going to play. Sangan Summoning does suck going to 1, unfortunately. Tenpai is one of my favorite decks. It's the deck that I've been playing. That is unfortunate. That Grass looks greener coming back to 1 is absolutely insane, though. Is it good? I don't know. Maybe some people can thrust into it. Yeah, the 60 card decks can probably thrust into that Grass. That Grass is, if that was at more than 1, it'd be insane. At 1, I don't know how much it's going to do in the metagame, but I don't know, man. That Grass is a dangerous card. Skill Drain going to 1 is pretty cool as well. The one that throws me off here is Branded Fusion. That one I was not expecting ever to go to 1 at this point, which is interesting. Maybe that's their way of stopping the Sanctifier stuff. Maybe. I don't know. The only gimmick puppet cards that go 1 to 1 are the Xyz monsters, it looks like, just to slow down some of their comboing, I guess. I don't know how I feel about this limited section. Ash and Poplar at 1 is interesting. Ash at 1 obviously definitely hits the Snake Eye decks, but Poplar at 1 is, I don't feel it's like that crazy because like it hurts the grind game, but they can still do a lot of their combos with Poplar at 1. All right. I'm feeling a little bit 50-50. Opening of the Spirit Gates, of course, you can't hit any of the Yubel cards, or I don't assume they hit any of the Yubel cards because a lot of them are brand new from Phantom Nightmare, and they probably don't want to hit the newer cards. So hitting Opening of the Spirit Gates is kind of like, okay, let's hit the consistency of the deck, right? Very fair hit. I think that makes sense. Summoning, Sangan Summoning, that's definitely going to hurt Tenpai, of course. Not having access to something like Miscellaneous Source for Dino, this is kind of the same thing in Field Spell form, right? So having only 1, I still think the deck's still going to be very good because keep in mind, even with 1 Sangan Summoning, if you're able to break your opponent's board, you can still go for OTK pretty much every time. So 1 Summoning sucks, but it's still playable. It definitely hurts the consistency a little bit. That Grass, though, that Grass is going to be something to look out for. So that's the limited section. Let's look at the semi-limited section. There's a few of them. Okay. Blaster, Redox, Tempest, Tidal. All of the Dragon Rulers coming back to 2. They were all at 1. Now they're coming back to 2. That's not too bad. I don't mind that, actually. I feel like Konami's realizing that these cards don't really do anything. They're going to bring them back to 2. I can definitely see on the next ban list they're going to bring them back to 3. I don't think those are going to do anything. That's fine. Lunar Light Tiger to 2 is very interesting, though, because that's going to make Lunar Light very playable again. Thunder Dragon Colossus. We saw on the last list. I was scared because I hated this card. It came back to 1. Didn't really do much. It coming back to 2. Maybe can do something, because now you just can't, because the thing with 1 Colossus is the people who tried to make it, they would end on it, but with cards like Imperm, Droplet, you could easily stop the Colossus, but now if you have 2 Colossus, it might be a little bit harder. So 2 Colossus can be something to look out for. Ib coming back to 2 doesn't matter as well. All right, let's go into the unlimited section over here. Armageddon Knight coming back to 3. There we go. That's really good. Ancient Fairy Dragon, Deng Long. Okay, those are all really good cards. didn't matter that they were at 1. Armageddon Knight, actually, I think was at 2. At 3 is kind of cool. Red Rose Dragon is kind of cool. Unicorn Kieran, Magispector and Unicorn Kieran is very, very interesting. Actually, no, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, I could definitely see Magispector doing some things now. I think that's a really good card. Plush Fire, of course, I don't know if you guys saw, but Plush Fire did recently get an errata, so Plush Fire coming back to 3 makes a lot of sense. Although, if I'm not mistaken, Summon Sork also got an errata, and we don't have that in the TCG yet. So I don't know if Plush Fire has a TCG errata print yet. I don't think it does. I'm surprised Summon Sork's not on this. Even with the errata, Summon Sork is not on this. But Plush Fire is interesting. Time Seal. Time Seal is kind of crazy. It's a one-off trap, yes, but it's a normal trap. So it's I'm pretty sure Labyrinth can get to this. I'm pretty sure Labyrinth can search this and just skip the draw phase of your opponent's next turn. Why did they give Lab a card like Time Seal back? That's kind of insane. And you can thrust into it. Not that you would. I mean, I don't see a lot of decks playing this, but Lab can definitely play this. Just skip the draw phase is absolutely insane. Unlimited section, though, nothing surprising, man. I thought the ban list was going to be a lot more like wow, big wow factor. The limited section is quite big. I'm not going to lie. They did want to hit the consistency up a lot. I mean, Snake Eye Ash Poplar to 1, Brand Infusion to 1, opening of the Spirit Gates. That one's very interesting. Do you guys hear them partying in the background? I literally came back into my hotel room just to film this video for you guys because the ban list came out. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, though, because I'm going to be very interested to hear what you guys think. I think the Forbidden section makes a lot of sense. It's what I expected to happen. The semi-limited section is basically the limited section from the last couple ban lists. Like, oh, we brought cards back to 1, didn't really do anything. Let's just bring it back to 2. That's kind of what the semi-limited section here is. The unlimited section, same thing. A bunch of cards that got essentially errated, except for Denglong, but Denglong also hasn't been doing anything. A bunch of cards that got errated, and they're slowly bringing them back because they're realizing it's not doing much. Yeah, where a lot of the conversation I think is going to happen is the limited section. Eva back to 1 is kind of cool for those Drytron decks. Like that, was it Drytron that used it? I think it was Drytron, right? Like, Eva is a pretty, because it searches Herald of the Orange Light, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of insane. Oh no, it wasn't. Was it Drytron? Or was it I can't remember what deck used it. But anyways, one of those ritual decks. Snake Eye Ash, Snake Eye Poplar, the Gimmick Puppet cards or whatever. Brand Infusion is interesting. Opening of the Spirit Gates. I mean, Yubel is still going to be one of the best. The Fiendsmith engine, of course, is still going to be one of the best engines. Even with Lacrima banned, the Fiendsmith engine is still going to be one of the best engines. And yeah, it's interesting because, Fiendsmith Yubel is still going to be one of the best decks. Fiendsmith Snake Eye is actually still very, very live. Even with Ash and Poplar to 1, the deck is still very live, which is absolutely insane that Snake Eye is still a relevant deck. Like, I'm surprised Flamber's gonna get hit. I'm surprised Promethean Princess was never gonna get hit, but I don't know. Saying and summoning kind of hurts though as a Tempai player. But that grass looks greener. Let me know if you guys think that grass looks greener is gonna do anything in today's format. I think it's very interesting, and the fact that we have 3 thrust also to get into it. You can play 60 card pile decks, maybe that go second, potentially. I don't know. I mean, thrust is still pretty good going first, but it didn't relies on your opponent having a hand trap. It's a lot more difficult to resolve, but possible. Skill drain to 1, of course. Feel like all of these floodgates to 1 make a lot of sense. That's what Konami did with all the other ones. Rivalry goes in all the other ones, so that makes sense. Man, I'm just looking at my computer right now. I'm not sure how much this is going to affect the meta, if I'm being honest with you. And the reason I say that is because although they hit Snake Eye, it's not like Snake Eye is not playable because they also hit Yubel. What they did essentially, from what I'm looking at, and my initial thoughts on this is, what they did is, let's say Snake Eye and Yubel, like Fiendsmith, were like 10 out of 10 decks. And then there was a bunch of like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 decks, something like that, right? Like, what's a tier 2 deck? I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Let's say Tenpai. Tenpai was actually pretty tier 1 as well. But let's say they had these tier 1 decks and they have these tier 2 decks, or 1.5 decks, right? What they did was they hit the tier 1 decks and then made them tier 1.5. So now it's kind of like an even playing field. It's not that Snake Eye is dead. It's not that Yubel is dead. It's not that all of these top tier decks are now not good at all. It's what they did was they just kind of balanced out the power level. And that could be a really good thing, if I'm being honest with you. That could be a really good thing, because it means that you still have to play against Snake Eye, but it's not going to be as obnoxious as before. You're still going to have to play against Yubel, but it's not going to be as consistent as before without opening the Spirit Gates, right? So, Prosperity also being at 1 is very interesting, because it's going to bring the consistency down on pretty much every deck in the game, right? Because most decks in the game are playing 3 Prosperity. And at 1, it's like, okay, people are probably going to be playing the 1 Prosperity, but it's not going to be as consistent, right? Same thing with Sand Against Summoning. Tenpai tier 1 deck, tier 1.5 probably now with Sand Against Summoning to 1. Other than that, though, they did bring up the level of a lot of the rogue decks. You know what I mean? Like bringing back, Bringing back Unicorn, like Magispector Unicorn Kieran to 3 makes Magispector a lot better of a deck. Now, Magispector we all know is a rogue tier deck anyways, but it does make it a lot better. It does give it that big jump. Time Seal is the card that I'm worried about. Time Seal is the card that I'm worried about because I feel like Labyrinth can get access to this card, and them having a draw, like not a turn skip, but like a skip for a draw for your opponent can be quite detrimental. I don't know how I feel about that one. The rest makes sense though. Honestly, Konami, well done. I'm gonna be honest. This was actually a pretty good ban list. It wasn't too crazy. Sorry, I got flies over here everywhere. But yeah, this is well done, Konami. This is a pretty good ban list. I'm not gonna overreact and say, because I'm not gonna lie. As I'm filming this, guys, I'm filming on my phone. I'm getting a million notifications saying this ban list sucks. This ban list sucks. I actually disagree. I think this ban list is really cool. I think it balances out a lot of the game, right? If you want to play Memento or Mementoli, I don't know how to pronounce that. I mean, if you want to play Memento, that's relevant. Tenpai is still relevant. Snake Eye is still relevant. Yubel is still relevant. But you can still play Branded. Like, even with Branded Fusion to 1, you can still play Branded. You can still play a lot of... Mimighoul is a playable deck. You know, there's still a lot of decent decks right now. And what they did, if anything, like I said, what they did was they brought down the level of these tier 1 decks to kind of match a lot of the tier 1.5, tier 2 decks. And that is cool. That is really cool. Kashtira is also still a pretty good deck, right? Because I don't think they did anything to Kashtira here other than Prosperity to 1. Again, Prosperity to 1 is like every deck gets hit, right? Because that's consistent to every deck. Thunder Dragon Colossus though. So, okay, so I'm gonna be honest. Last thing I'm gonna say. Thunder Dragon Colossus and Time Seal are the 2 cards that I'm worried about the most. Yeah, if I'm being honest. Plush Fire coming back is really cool. Don't think it's going to do anything though with the new errata. The new errata pretty much says you can only use it once per turn. Or was it once per turn or once per duel? I can't remember what it is. But it like locks it where you can't just spam it and stuff. So yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. In my opinion, my final say is good job, Konami. I think this is a great ban list for the game. I think it's going to open up open up the format. It's not going to be a 2-deck format, maybe a 3-deck format. It's going to be actually probably closer to a 5 or 6-deck format. Now, it depends on player preference. Some people really like that when it's wider formats. Some people like smaller formats. That's really up to player preference, right? So thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I am gonna get back down there to partying and enjoying my time. And then once I'm back in the studio, we're gonna go hard. We're gonna post pretty much, I want to say every day, but we're gonna be posting a lot. We're gonna be posting a lot on the channel. We're gonna be going back to competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, guys. This is just a quick sneak peek into what's happening once I get back from vacation. We're going to be going back to competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm happy that this ban list takes effect on September 2nd because I'm back on September 4th. And then we're going to go hard. So thank you guys all for watching, and with that, Spanko signing out. Peace.